shave? Oh, shit, I look awful. Here's the deal. Up until now, I have only ever viewed the final product. I have never seen the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, or the sixth drafts of any stories that I adore. I only know the final product that I'm working towards. So the whole process is kinda nerve-wracking in a way, because I don't know what it's supposed to look like when I'm at my second draft, or my third draft, or my fourth, as I am on now. You just feel kind of alone. I find that when I do editing, it usually falls into one of three camps. You have line-by-line editing of old content, writing of new content, and you also have a third kind where you rewrite old content to suit a new style. The process of line-by-line editing is fairly simple. You pull up the document and you write on it. You do grunt work. You edit your manuscript. I like to use a new manuscript for each draft so that hopefully after I finish my book, I can look back in a kind of smug confidence. However, occasionally, I will get off my fat ass and go to my shelf and then pick out a book so that I can steal aforementioned prose. By the time I'm about a couple hours underway, I usually have a small stack of books next to me that kind of act as, like, inspiration. I more just kind of repeatedly steal from them. For example, if I'm doing a transition between scenes and I want to know, it's kind of a more filmic transition, we just kind of hard cut, I'd pull out a copy of Rin's World. Rin's World is a Warhammer book, which basically means it's following a more cinematic structure. So that means it'll have a lot of cinematic transitions like the one I'm trying to use. I'll flick through the book, see how it transitions, and then I'll use it in perfect gulls. Not word for word, but just using it so that I confidently know that it's actually in a published book. Chief among the novels that I rely on is Sin and Syntax by Constance Hale. It's pretty much everything that I know about editing combined with this weird YouTube channel that's run by a furry that I'm very embarrassed to admit that I enjoy. I could give you individual tips on verb usage and adjectives and nouns and stuff like that, but to be quite honest, just read the fucking book. She's better than I am. However, if we're going to be honest about my specific process, it goes as follows. Number 1, I'll copy-paste a paragraph into a trash document. That way I can just kind of freely manipulate it however I want. I'll separate it out into individual sentences so that I can focus on each one in isolation and its length in relevance to the other sections. I used to be really anal about varying my sentence lengths, but to be quite honest, I'm an adult now, so I don't really care about that. Number 2, I'll copy and paste it into something called the Hemingway editor, linked in the description. It highlights uses of passive voice. A lot of nerds will tell you that passive voice is like the death knell of any book. They're idiots. Just write a good book. However, I'm anal, so I check for it anyway. The third and final piece of external software I use is Grammarly. My commas suck, okay? Don't judge me. After all this is done, I'll reformat it into a readable form and then I'll copy-paste it back into the original document. Alright, so, did you get that? Number 1, rewrite text with the help of other books, i.e. plagiarism. Number 2, put it in the Hemingway editor. Number 3, reluctantly and guiltily copy-paste it into Grammarly. Okay, number 2. Number 2 is when I forgot. Number 2 is when I rewrite old content. It's when I rewrite old content. Editing new content is pretty much just the same as first drafting. I'm kind of weird when it comes to time. I usually shoot for 500 words an hour. I know I can write like 1,000 words an hour, but quality usually suffers. I'll try and aim for 100 words every 10 minutes with a 10-minute break at the end. If I get the 100 words done before the end of the 10 minutes is up, I can either keep going so that I have a longer break at the end, or I can take a short break of like a couple minutes to fuck around on the computer until the next 10 minutes starts. It's kind of childish, but I wrote a 55,000 word novel. You didn't! Savannah Brown makes this look so easy. I am exhausted. I am so tired. Okay, that's it. I'm completely done fucking around my phone. I'm not using any video anymore. The moral of the story is, people romanticize writing, and at the end of the day, I don't have a parchment, I don't have a quill, there's nothing special about it. It's just me sitting in my room, alone, on the internet, on Google Docs. And if a dum-dum like me can write a book, you probably can.